What does a classic cocktail have to do with two cities in Italy and watered down espresso? Let's talk about it. So the Negroni is a classic cocktail that needs no introduction, and its history is actually somewhat unclear, but it definitely goes back to the early 20th century. Now, sometime in the early 20s, actually evidence shows more likely in France than originally in Italy, the idea for the Negroni first appeared, but certainly by the 30s and 40s, cocktail books had the basic recipe that we use today. Now, Italy has a tradition of something called the Americano. From the coffee world, this is the idea of taking a shot of espresso and diluting it down with water. I guess this is their cheeky insult at us Americans, or uncivilized, and water down our espresso to make normal strength coffee. But the same thing exists in the cocktail world too. So the Italians have a long tradition of essentially making highballs. So they would take Campari and dilute it down with soda water, or they do the same thing with vermouth. And again, that would be called an Americano. Now there's two sister cities in Italy, Milano and Torino. And Milano is responsible for things like Campari here, so for bitter aperitifs. And Torino is where sweet vermouth like this comes from. And pretty early, people got the idea for mixing these two together. So you got something bitter, got something sweet. You'd create a Milano Torino, or even Mito for short. And it's a wonderful mix. Now, at some point, someone got the idea of adding either soda water to this, or eventually gin. And that is right from there already basically the basic formula for gin. Now, again, some histories they cite a Count Camillo Negroni. Other histories say there actually was never a Count Camillo Negroni, or he was not a count, but he had an uncle or father who was a count. We'll leave the history debate up to the experts, Dave Wondrich and others. But we're just going to go ahead and make a perfect Negroni. Awesome drink you can enjoy anytime. Start off with some gin. I'm a big fan of Botanist personally. It's a wonderful gin. And as long as you're doing equal parts, you can really make one any size you want. I'm doing 1¼ ounces here of all three ingredients. So we've got some gin, we've got Campari, again same amount, and yes, it's definitely a stirred drink. Although the history actually cites an early shaken version, but we're not going to do that. And again, you have your choice of sweet vermouths. I'm a big fan of Cocchi di Torino. You get that history in there, but some people prefer Antica Formula by Carpano, and that's fine. You certainly can use that. And that's it. Let's get our ice. And let's stir it up. Let's get our nice little ice chunk in there. Get our julep strainer and pour in our lovely drink. I want to get a nice big orange peel on this. And just insert it here. And that's the Negroni. Let's give it a taste. Getting that nice big orange peel on top is really important. That really plays off some of the botanicals in Campari, and pairs really well with the gin too. I mean, it's just such a nice balanced drink. Yeah, it's lovely. That bitterness is really powerful. Sweetness from the vermouth comes in, and you don't taste quite. You can't really taste which gin it is. Whatever gin you're using, it's kind of obviously dealing with some very strong flavors from the vermouth and the Campari. But use one, I would say, definitely that's maybe above 40%, because you want that punch. You want to really still feel it through the other components. Yeah, that's lovely anytime. Go out, explore, make yourself a Negroni. Enjoy.